Bula, Pete Deletes, still in Fiji. I've just not long been in Fiji. Went to the bank last night with my credit card because I didn't think they were working. I was a bit disappointed, money come out. So I'd sort of switched into survival mode, which is when all my senses come alive. But I've got money now, don't have to use it, but might as well, eh? So I've just spent most of the day just people watching and just sit and be and observe. And I came to Fiji, I first came 23 years ago with family, but I came here 10 years ago when I'd lost everything. And I just sat back and watched the world go by. That's pretty much all I was capable of doing, to be honest. But I did engage with in the villages and that. I kept out of towns since I was just over people. But yeah, I was sat in a cafe. It was just on Christmas, and I sat in a cafe back then 10 years ago, and I just picked up the local papers, and it was quite a thick edition. It was the Christmas edition, and it was just full of ads and articles on what you need for the perfect Christmas, what you need to buy, you know, and all the ads and oh man, it was sickening. These beautiful people that back then on $2.80 an hour, $2. I think now the average wage is about $2.50 an hour Fijian, and things are more expensive here than in New Zealand. So it just stuck in the system trying to buy shit. But there was only in this paper, Christmas edition, there was only one thing that was not advertising things to buy, and it was a passage from the Bible. They had the little religious bit for Christmas, and it was about the three wise men bearing gifts. So it was all about gift giving, and yeah, not very subtle. But yeah, and back then I saw Vodafone when you were in town. They had big billboards everywhere. You got to connect with the rest of the world, and you know they were everybody's new best friend. They were sponsoring rugby teams, and I was actually invited into churches, into villages to speak, and I just said, "Don't you believe they're not your friends?" Just over here now is the flashiest shop in town. I can see it from here, Vodafone. They're just 10 years on, the kids are all hooked. Back then they were doing 50-cent top-ups to get these poor villagers hooked, you know, and now I see there's just 2-year-olds watching movies on the phone. It's just everywhere. It's just like back in New Zealand, really. Yeah, it's just, they're catching up rapidly, you know. These people are so open and trusting. They actually believe these people, you know. Coke are everywhere. Bottled water now everywhere, you know, plastic everywhere. When I was here back in November, I just couldn't help but notice the Fijians were just, well, I'm getting a bit bitten here, ants, bit of nature. So yeah, they'd be on a bus and they just throw their plastic out the window. I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. I just couldn't work out why, till one day I went into a village and I saw the old rubbish tip. And it was compost, leaves, coconut shells, just woven baskets out of, you know, everything from nature. So for thousands of years they've just been throwing stuff away, and they haven't made the mind switch, you know, they haven't adjusted, so they're still doing it. But yeah, I'll see what I can do about that. I'm going to talk to some people later about doing a little video into schools just to make the kids aware of what's happening. But yeah, that's for another blog. But yeah, it's just watching people. It's fascinating how they've changed in the 10 years. Just driven by money and trying to buy white men's happiness, and dangerous game. And yeah, so I just keep watching and observing and keep out of it as much as I can. So yeah, I was thinking about a poem I should do, but yeah, I don't know. No, I haven't got a poem, so I just might keep waffling for a bit. What else? Oh, when I was here last, religions are the big one here. My God, that's the biggest brand of all. I think it's like the North American churches are here. Seeing you can build the biggest bullshit church, and they're taking their beautiful, gentle pastors off to Samoa, teaching them their brand of religion, and bringing them back here so you can build the pastors with the biggest, flashiest house, and they're buying them 4-wheel drives. It's just a load of bollocks. And and just cutting these people off from their culture, from their heritage, from their spirituality. Same in New Zealand, same all around the world. It's cutting the indigenous peoples off, and they wonder why they're lost, you know. But it works perfect for the corporates. Just they're lost spiritually, so they try and fill this void in them with material shit, and yeah, cogs in the machine. They're just trapped in the system, like most people in the West. And yeah, when I was here last, I went, just, there's a river here, and at the river mouth there's sand dunes, huge sand dunes. I think it's the only place in the tropics I've heard where there are sand dunes, quite rare. And it's full of bones and pottery from the ancient people here, and thousands of years old, and giant bones. They were huge people, you know. I found some when I was here, and back then I was walking in meditation one night, just all night I just walked in the sand dunes, and had dreams and visions. And the next day I walked back to the family I was staying with for breakfast, and I just sat against the wall and just shut my eyes. I was really tired, being up all night. I closed my eyes, and I had this vision of the old people coming up out of the sand dunes with face paint. And I didn't know that's what they were then, because I didn't know what they looked like. I thought they were hats, but it was actually, they had afro hair, and it was so vivid and strong. These people just rising up out of the sand with sticks and black and white face paint stripes. It just snapped me out of my little trance, and I was staying in the house with the local pastor, village elder, and I asked him of the old people. I said, what do they look like? And I said, I've seen these people with hats. He said, no, that was their hair. And when I explained, he said, yep, that's exactly what we're told the old people look like. And he loved it. You know, in the West, a lot of religions, they took, you know, anything like that, that's the devil's work, you know. And they're trying to cut Christians off from their truth, you know. You've got to buy into their brand. And you know, dreams, visions, meditation in some religions that's the devil's work, you know. That's not the world I live in. But so yeah, I talked to historians here, and things that I was shown in these visions that a lot of historians, they don't know about, you know. But when you talk to the old people, they remember stories from the old times. So bit by bit, I'm piecing together a different truth, a different history of the world, the universe, you know, and you know, not what I was taught at school, far from it. But yeah, it makes a lot more sense to me. So I'm talking more on that, and at some point I'm doing research here for another book that talks about all these things, and all the pieces of the puzzle that I've been shown, you know, and led to, and yeah, the connection with here in Egypt, and yeah, it's fascinating. So I'm really enjoying being here again. Probably should do a poem, been waffling a bit. I think I've done this before, but it's sort of relevant. Goes like this, not sure what it's called, doesn't matter. Would you and me, if need it take, expose all myth and man of fake, and those of us be bone and meat who live a life of toil and cheat, should in its stead but fly away to life a free and loving way. They're all about might see a truth, for lost in mind and heart be proof. They're still the flame and scrolls of old, though but flicker, ember cold. So fan up, roar thy furnace heat, be heard again a sacred beat, a light, a wing, a voice of ear, guardian angel ever near, will guide us home just as foretold, back to the light, this God of old. So yeah, I'm in a playground actually, and just had a little siesta, and because they do that a bit in Fiji, they've got time still. It's changing, and the villages are still, time doesn't exist actually, and Fiji time they call it. And talking to one of my historians friends, in ancient times, yeah, obviously time didn't exist. They certainly didn't have watches, and they didn't have need for time and stress and all the illness that goes with the white man's disease, you know. So time started when the sun came up in the morning. When they had no shadow, it was half, and when the sun went down, that was it. The day was finished, and anything good that happened in that day, they would take into the next day in thought or song or in conversation. Anything bad that happened in that day stopped when the sun went down. They carried nothing bad into the next day, and that's really powerful, eh? And the more life just got better and better and better. And when you talk and just spend time with the indigenous peoples here, there's just no stress in their lives. It is changing, sadly, but yeah, I like this. I mean, in modern psychology now, they sort of bringing mindfulness in and living in the now. But these people did it thousands of years ago, and it's just been lost. Yeah, when I was here when I was here 10 years ago, I just bought. I didn't want to get into the schooling system. I wanted to do something for the people. I didn't want to bring books and pencils and to teach them education, the white man version, you know. So I bought colouring pencils and face paints, and I've done it again the same this time. It's certainly a way to get the kids into villages. And I went into a hospital. There was a kid in bed. I did give him a little colouring book. He was pretty messed up. And I spoke to a nurse here, and because of I come here to escape the mental health system, you know, anything talk of spirituality or voices, or you know, that's all up the meds, you know. So I come in here to escape all that. And so I asked the nurse here. I saw the stress coming. I saw these innocent, gentle people trying to buy happiness, you know. So I saw the stress coming, the phone companies. So I asked about the mental health system here, and she was a bit, what do you mean? I said, well, what is there, you know, any counselling or any mental health? And she, oh, hang on. She said, no, the meds are just coming in there. The medications are just coming in there. Oh, fuck, you know, typical, you know. Once all the other corporations have got hold, the most evil of all, the drug companies, you know. So I'm going to go back 10 years on. I'm going to go into the hospital and ask them now how much is advanced, you know. So not in the villages, there's no need for medication. They just talk about stuff, you know, which is what we need to do now, you know. This is why I do this blog. Talk about shit. And powerful medicine. Always has been, always will be, you know. So I'm sure the drug companies here now, and they'll be loving it. And so yeah, I'll see what I can find about that, and I'll get back to you soon. So yeah, I want to go and wander around a bit. There's a few churches. I'll go into churches and ask them their belief systems. And I always judge any religion on how happy the people look, you know. And not seeing much happiness. The Sikh people, you know, their belief systems. Man, they don't seem very happy. So I'll ask them. It fascinates me, you know. I've got Pietism and my religion for me, you know, and it's working really well for me. Just every minute of every day, just peaceful, blissful. So I seek out people with that same outlook on life, with that unshakable grin and that deep-seated happiness. So I ask them of their secrets, you know, and I'm not finding many, but I'll keep looking. And hopefully you're one of them. And hopefully, if you see me on the street, come and have a chat. We'll have a cup of tea and we'll talk some more. So have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.